Hello everybody, it's Martin Edwards from Me So Healthy. It's good to be back, and I'm wearing the glasses only because I don't want my eyes darting around to be a distraction. If I've got my eyes covered up, then basically if I'm looking at my notes and then talking to you at the same time, it's not going to be a huge distraction for you while I'm actually reading off a page, for example, because I do notes like I do for everything that I do for you guys. This week I wanted to talk about coconuts. Last week it was about garlic. Great things I learned about garlic, and I hope you did too, and if you haven't, go check out that video. But this one's about coconuts, another superfood, which is high in saturated fat. So it's had a bit of a bad rap because it is high, but I'll talk more about that later. It's rich in fibre, okay, vitamins and minerals. Now the kind of coconut you want to go for, it's the young coconut. That's the healthier one. That's the one you can get from India. The one that I'm most familiar with, and probably a lot of you guys are as well, are the ones that you can generally find on the tropical beaches of the Caribbean and Madagascar and Hawaii. Those are the more mature coconuts. Those are the furry brown ones. Now the main difference between the two is that the younger one, the one from India, has a green outer shell, and inside the white meat is softer and there's more water inside as well, as opposed to the other ones that I'm more familiar with. Being from the Caribbean, it's probably why I'm more familiar with it. And the UK obviously has a trading system going on in their benefit when it comes to importing goods from overseas. The more mature coconut has a harder inner husk and not as much water as well. So if you are fortunate enough to get hold of a young coconut from India, that's the one that you should be going for. Now the water inside is very good for you because it's very high in electrolytes. Now electrolytes are comprised of different minerals. One of them is sodium, which is salt, very important salt. Don't get enough salt, and what might happen to you is what happened to a friend of mine, and she passed out. Took herself to the doctor and she was low in sodium. So coconuts are good for salt if you need to keep up your salt intake. Don't be afraid of salt. Your body is naturally rich in salt. It's one of the many minerals, and so I always add salt to my foods, to be honest. I did for a while buy low sodium salt. That was a bad idea. So salt all the way. Just not too much of anything, because too much of anything is bad for you, right? It's also high in potassium. Now potassium is a protein building block for muscles, for proper muscle synthesis. Very high in calcium, which is good for bone formation, as you know, healthy heart, muscles and nerves. Magnesium. Magnesium is very good for calming and relaxing you. It relaxes your body and your mind, helps you with any signs of insomnia that you might have, such as, me for example, I do tend to go to bed quite late. I wish I didn't have that sort of body clock about me, but I do. So if you do need something to help you relax, try and take some magnesium in a supplement form. And coconut also contains magnesium, so it's very good at relaxing you. I mentioned about potassium. Potassium reduces blood pressure. It's good for kidney function and manages anxiety, stress and your nervous system as well. So all very good things about coconuts. Now the oils, I'm going to show you something actually. I have, and where have I put it? Here we go. Coconut oil. Let's get it out the light so you can see it maybe. Yeah, it's a bit bright, but there's coconut oil. Coconut oil is very good for you. I did talk about saturated fats. Coconut oil obviously is a fat. It's comprised of two different types of fat. One of them is called lauric acid and the other one is called myristic acid. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. Now what they both do is give your body energy, like most fats do actually. If you need ready energy from your body, say you're exercising, what you're doing is you're burning fat. At least that's what I hope you're doing when you're exercising. You're burning fat, okay? Because fat basically is stored fuel in your body, and if you're not burning it enough by being active enough, you're going to accumulate too much fat, and it's going to be bad for your organs if that's where the fat is sitting. So for guys, if you've got a big belly, be careful because that's where your organs are, and so if you're not burning that fat, you really ought to. Okay. Quite often guys do get a big gut despite the fact that you might see them in the gym working out and lifting heavy weights. It's a hormone problem, and what you need to do is you need to increase your testosterone. It's slowing down, it's decreasing as you get older, and that is actually giving you a bit of a gut as well. Okay. Now, oils, lots of different types of oils, but they're all not good for the same thing. Now, I was talking to somebody some time ago about olive oil and how good olive oil is for you. Oh, olive oil, I'll put it on everything. But what you're not supposed to do is not meant to fry with olive oil. Olive oil does not have a very high smoking rate. What the smoking rate means is that when you are frying something, for example, you're going to reach high temperatures. When it starts smoking, that's when you know that you've turned that oil into something that's become rancid. There are certain oils such as olive oil which isn't very good for frying. Coconut oil is. Coconut oil has a very high smoke rate, so it's ideal for frying, baking, and you can also drizzle it at the right temperature because it is solid. Let me show you. It is solid when you buy it, right? It's not going anywhere. It is absolutely solid. It's like candle wax, okay? But I mix it into foods, hot foods, mix it into soups, and yeah, you also get that kind of coconutty, kind of sweet taste to your meals as well, which some people don't like. Some people more savoury, some people sweet. I like a bit of both. And it helps me with my sweet tooth that I'm constantly trying to hold off because I miss my sweets, and savoury sometimes just doesn't cut it. Your white blood cells actually need a little bit of saturated fat so that they can fight off viruses and bacteria. So there's nothing wrong with having a healthy amount of good fat. When you get coconut oil, you really want to get the extra virgin, all right, just like you might see for olive oil on the shelves, and it should be cold pressed as well. Cold pressed extra virgin or organic virgin, doesn't matter, all does the same thing, all good for you. I have to say, I actually do really like wearing the glasses. If it does sort of give a bit of a disconnect between me and you guys, let me know and I'll find something else. I was also talking about fat and the fact that it does boost your metabolism and aids in weight loss as well. Coconut fat, it's high in saturated fats, which therefore means it's high in cholesterol, but that cholesterol doesn't last long in your arteries. It's sticky in your arteries, but once you actually start sort of exercising, for example, or just generally just going about your day-to-day activities, you're going to be burning fat in your body, and that's one of the fats that doesn't actually stick to your arteries for very long because it does convert into energy very quickly. Too much of anything is bad for you, right? But if there's a fat that you can take which actually aids in your well-being, which coconut oil does, I would recommend that you use more coconut oil than you would sunflower or that nasty, well, there's several nasty oils out there. For example, vegetable oil. Oh, that's not good for you. Rapeseed oil. These, palm oil. These are cheap oils for a reason. You'll find them on the shelf. They'll be cheaper than the others for a reason. They're not good for you. Okay, your body doesn't do a very good job of burning those off, and so then you are looking at high cholesterol and things like that. So stay away from those oils. You want extra virgin oils, and I go for coconut and I go for olive oil as well. Those are very good oils to use. Coconuts also help detoxify your body and it aids your digestive system as well because they're very high in fibre. Now I'm talking about the white husk inside the meat, and I do eat as much of it as I possibly can. I'm going to show you a snack that I have discovered of late. It's called, oh gosh, the video is too bright, isn't it? It's called Crispy Coconut Curls, and this comes in pepper and spice flavour. This is from a company called Ape. Basically, white meat inside the coconut that's been dried, flavoured with peppers and spices. It's lovely. I eat as much of that as I can. They're not cheap. This one, I can often get from Holland and Barrett. Actually, they always sell it in Holland and Barrett. Really nice. The most popular one that you'll find is the salted, lightly salted flavour. But not only is it a good snack, but it's actually very healthy for you as well. So that's what I have. No sugars in this one. You can find other alternative brands that have got coconut nectar, which is basically just it's sugar, okay, derived from coconuts, and it's too much carbohydrates, too much carbs, too much calories. This one simply has seasoning, 5% seasoning, black pepper powder, white pepper powder, cardamom powder, cumin powder, and sea salt, and it's lovely. So I eat as much of that as I possibly can. So good to put in your skin as well. You'll find a lot of products that have coconuts in the ingredients that help moisturize your skin. So I mean, this stuff, for example, that's a moisturizer in itself. It helps with wrinkles, apparently. It helps rejuvenate your skin. So, and that's because it penetrates deeply, apparently, probably because of its natural qualities. I mean, it's a completely natural product, is coconut oil. So it's your body's going to adapt to it as well as it might do anything else that's completely natural. It has a low glycemic index, this coconut meat, so it's tolerated a lot by diabetics. If there are any diabetics who are watching this show right now, I called it a show, then please let me know if it's one of the many snacks that you do try, because I have a friend who's diabetic who has recently fallen into a coma. I know lots of different people, don't I? This is somebody who clearly has a sweet tooth, might stray a few times from his regular recommended sugar intake. He does, though, maintain his sweet tooth by buying pallets of Zero Coke. Pallets of these bottles of Zero Coke. He was found recently passed out on his living room floor, and he was suffering a virus at the time. That, coupled with, I'm guessing he wasn't looking after himself as well, and so if you're looking for a healthy substitute, that's why I'm going with this. If you're looking for a healthy substitute for something that's not particularly good for you, like bottles, liters of Zero Coke or whatever it is that you might be taking, that might be labelled sugar free, but everything else in there, in order to give it its sweetness, isn't going to be good for you. Try some coconut curls. Do you know what I mean? Try some coconut chips. It must be very difficult for somebody who has diabetes in later life, because for a long time then they have appreciated the finer foods. At least that's what they might call them. And so it must be difficult then to then handle a transition from such a diet to such a drastically bland one in comparison. At least I might consider it bland, because when you've had a sweet tooth for a long time like I did, it's very difficult then to try and manage that. So I have sympathy for anybody who's forced by any means to have to change their diet. Coconut nectar is, it's basically it's sugar derived from coconuts. Basically, it's basically the sap of the flower when it's blooming from the coconut. Just when it's young, it's basically just compressed, put through a machine, blah 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 blah. Apparently, the end process, it tastes a little bit like brown sugar, but I'm not a sugar person anyway. At least I try not to be. There are different types of coconut that you can use for different things, such as coconut flour. Now, this is a coconut flour that I have. Too bright, bright light, right. Coconut flour, anyway. This is fine flour from raw organic, fat reduced cold pressed coconut, gluten free, suitable for a paleo diet. Now you can get this from, I've got this from a local supermarket actually. Not expensive, so you can use it as regular flour. I mean, obviously it's not going to rise to things like cakes and baked goods that you might be making, but I tend to put it on cereal. Sometimes I put it on foods as well. If I'm making something soupy and I might want it to just be a little bit sweet, I'll put some coconut flour on it. Tastes lovely. Also, there's coconut milk. I have some coconut milk. I've got all my props today. Coconut milk, okay. Dairy free, unsweetened, organic. Oh, it's comprised of organic rice, filtered water, sea salt, and it says that's it. I use it for my cereals. I add it to porridges. That's my main cereal, porridge. So I add it to that. I was using soy milk for a long time until I discovered the effects it has on your hormones. Apparently, in women, it increases estrogen to soy milk. So, heaven knows what it does to men. But then I have another person I know who says that, and they've done their research, they claim, and they say that it's a myth, okay, that soy milk and high soy products such as tofu does not play havoc on your hormones because your body will eventually balance it out anyway. And that estrogen that is claimed to affect women clearly does not have an effect on men. I'm getting mixed reactions about when I do use it. It's very rare. I mean, I haven't had any soy milk for a good year, and I bought some a few months ago, and so I sort of come, so I don't use it regularly. I might come back to it once in a blue moon, as I have this year in 2018. But yeah, it's been about a year since I've had soy milk otherwise, because it's I like it in my porridges because it makes my porridges thick and creamy. So it's a shame coconut milk doesn't do that. It is just like a milk, but it does taste quite sweet. So if you are looking for a milk substitute, then coconut milk is a great alternative. There's also coconut cream, and it's very thick, very creamy. I don't have any with me because I generally don't have it because it's probably a little bit too sweet for me now. I mentioned about the two different types of acids that are in the oil. Medium chain fatty acids, which is what they are very effective against parasites. Now, I do talk a lot about parasites only because they are a hidden menace in the body, and so you might have parasites without ever realizing it. Medium chain fatty acids are very good at expelling parasites. The white meat of the coconut, which is probably why I have as much coconut as I do, just to be sure, and it's a nice snack as well, so I can eat as much as I like. Fibre of the coconut, it acts as a vermifuge, and a vermifuge is basically just like a group of anti-parasitic drugs. It just falls into that category. So the white meat of the coconut has been tested to expel parasites. There was a controlled experiment made in India in 1984, suffering from tapeworm. And so this controlled experiment was made with the dried white meat of the coconut. Now, apparently, it's more effective to expel parasites when it's dried. And because this was from India, you could be sure that they were using the younger coconut that I described earlier in the show. I like that. In this village, they consumed at least 200 grams of dried coconut. And they coupled that with Epsom salts. Now, if you've ever tried Epsom salts, that is a great way of clearing out your body, right? If you are constipated, Epsom salts, within a couple of hours, you're on the toilet. So I'm not surprised that they used Epsom salts. It's cheap and it's effective. They expelled at least 90% of the parasites that they had in their bodies. The fibre, the white meat alone, is an anti-parasitic to these guys, right? Parasites do not like coconut white meat. I consume as much as I can of coconut because I like it, and if I am expelling any, which I haven't noticed, but if I am, then it's one up for me. I also wanted to show you my coconut water. So I'm not messing about when it comes to this stuff, because anything that makes you feel better, you should give a go. Coconut water is mildly sweet. This one does say that it has 1% fructose in it and 99% coconut water, and it's coupled with vitamin C as well. Cheap stuff in the supermarket. That's my history, my little story about coconuts. So I hope you found the idea of eating coconuts more interesting. It's your bounty bars. Don't go down that route. You want to go for the natural, unflavoured, raw as you can get it coconut. Alright? Until next time, everybody. This is Martin Edwards signing off from Me So Healthy Too. You can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Twitter. Until next time, take care of yourselves and everybody else out there who's worth giving a shit about. Until then, bye bye.